Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me out here in the amazing high deserts for another expedition. So I've spent quite a bit of time exploring around some of these clandestine aerospace sites out here in the Mojave, particularly in California's Antelope Valley. We of course have the Helendale RCS site and the highly mysterious Northrop Tejon Ranch RCS site, but you may not know that there actually is a third privately owned RCS facility out here in Antelope Valley. Or at least there was until it was sold and repurposed as an advanced drone test site around the year 2000, with much of the equipment allegedly being moved over to White Sands in New Mexico. The name of this facility is Gray Butte, and when it was an active RCS range, it was operated by the aerospace company McDonnell Douglas, known for aircraft like the really cool looking YF-43 that they collaborated with Northrop on. It's one of my favorite looking planes personally. Unlike with Helendale and potentially Tejon, I haven't seen records of any underground infrastructure here, though there were some sightings of some very interesting shapes up on the RCS pylons, like these here, photographed by legendary Area 51 researcher and military historian Peter Merlin. When unauthorized viewers were spotted in the area, they had a movable target cover that could be put over the model to quickly hide it, a similar idea to Lockheed's retractable system that they have at Helendale. Gray Butte is currently in operation as a UAV test site operated by General Atomics Aeronautical Division, who operates out of the El Mirage airfield, which is about 6 miles to the northeast. Aside from Reapers being the backbone of the U.S. drone arsenal, there is also the YFQ-42A CCA that is known to be in the prototype stages and maybe being flown out of this airfield. We're heading up the main entrance road right now, and I know that security tends to be pretty jumpy at this site for whatever reason, or at least it did back when it was run by McDonnell Douglas. I noticed a security truck pass me going the opposite direction, and it quickly flipped a U-turn, and is now following me. I'm going to pull over here and let it pass. I think the security went back to the guard shack to let them know I was coming. This road here basically just keeps going and dumps you right out at the guard shack, and there's really not a big reason to hang out up here because you can't actually see anything inside the facility, and I'm more interested in seeing what I can document than seeing how much of a nuisance I can be. So in typical fashion, we're gonna go ahead and head out into the desert, down some dirt trails, and see if we can get a better look at this facility. All right, so taking a look at some satellite imagery here, we can see that there's a hill down to the southwest and one also to the northeast. Both of those should give us enough elevation to look down into it, but given the direction that the hangars are facing, which looks like they're facing to the northeast, I think I want to go ahead and head up to that upper hill there and see what I can find around there. We'll take a look around some of the perimeter spots here too. Comparing the satellite imagery with land use maps, it looks like there's a large section of the facility up here in the corner that was part of the original RCS range but was not sold to General Atomics. So I'm not sure who owns it now, but it doesn't look like it's fenced off as part of the restricted zone. So we'll head up to that area and see what we can see over there too. Heavy rains over the last 2 weeks or so have caused quite a bit of damage to the landscape. A lot of these trails back here are honestly barely passable. I've already had to reroute myself a couple times because it's really easy to sink down into the sand when it's so saturated like this. The airfield is just coming back into view. I'm approaching the northeastern corner near where that interesting concrete square sits. Let's go ahead and take a peek through the telephoto. This spot has just enough elevation to peer over the bushes that cover the landscape. Focusing in, I can see a clear view of the hangars, with a handful of Reapers there on the tarmac. Just like that, I have eyes on the prototype YFQ-42A collaborative combat aircraft. It's also known as a loyal wingman. Part of the Gambit family of autonomous aircraft, this aircraft was selected by the Air Force for the CCA program, along with Anduril's YFQ-44A, which myself and others speculated could be what crashed outside Area 51 late last year. It looks like the YFQ-42 may have just landed shortly before I arrived, as it's traveling towards the hangars, and it's being escorted by a security pickup. A number of ground personnel are arriving on the scene now. It's definitely a sleek and futuristic looking airframe, that's for sure. Looking to the right of the aircraft, we have some antennas for telemetry and communication with the UAVs. And near that looks like the base fire department with some administrative buildings behind it. Well, nothing's moved lately on the runway, so I'm going to do some exploring now up ahead. Directly in front of me is the interesting concrete pad that likely was part of the McDonnell Douglas RCS test site. Could have been where a test article was mounted on a pylon for radar cross-section testing. As I mentioned, I haven't seen any records confirming subterranean facilities at this location, but as with the other RCS sites, there are some scattered reports from locals about seeing things like trucks driving into underground bunkers and things like that, so who knows. If you had any experience with this place back in the 90s, feel free to chime in the comments if you saw anything unusual. I'm assuming this section here was not part of the sale to General Atomics since it's outside the current fence line. Just a few feet over here, we have what is the current fence line with a padlocked chain link gate. One kind of weird thing that I've noticed is that the language on these signs is what you usually find on an Air Force property, not a private aerospace facility like this is supposed to be. It's kind of strange considering records indicate General Atomics owns this property outright. I did come across some evidence that there is an Air Force unit that may operate here at least part-time, namely the Life Cycle Management Center, which is part of the Air Force Material Command. Back in World War II, there was a military auxiliary airstrip located here, though not much of that facility remains, other than the faint outline of the runways that were repurposed for the RCS testing. And over here we have some of the very old signs back from the McDonnell Douglas days. You sure don't see these heavy steel signs with the raised lettering like this much anymore. Interestingly, this site was the oldest of the private RCS ranges, dating all the way back to the 60s actually, and it predates Lockheed's Helendale site even. In fact, Lockheed tested a very early model of the Hopeless Diamond airframe right here, since they didn't have an RCS test site of their own at the time, which is kind of crazy. As I made my way back to the car, I see that security has suddenly taken an interest in me. I was waiting to see if these guys were going to come talk to me. I've been sitting here about 20 minutes staring at them, but it doesn't look like they're going to come through the gate. I wonder if me walking on that concrete pad triggered something, because I was out here shooting for a while, and it wasn't until I walked onto the pad and then up to the fence that it triggered a response and they came out. So we'll see. But anyways, I'm going to head on out of here and head up to that mountain that's directly behind me, because that's where I'm going to be spending the night tonight. I just realized a Gorka suit is probably a poor choice of wardrobe if I don't want to look like a Russian spy. I kind of wonder if they have access to these camera feeds. I kind of feel like they do, because there's not really much other infrastructure out here worth having security cameras over. Man, this area is trashed. It's a little sketchier than the areas that I typically like to spend the night, but it'll have to do. Lots of illegal weed grows around these parts of the California desert too. I've accidentally rolled up on them before. I like to avoid that if possible. Reaching the crest of this little hill here, we can see the YFQ-42A repositioned in front of this hangar. As the sun begins to set, lights come on inside and we can make out some of what's inside the building. One thing in particular caught my eye, and that's this aircraft here to the right. We can't clearly make it out, but it looks to be a slightly different shape than the YFQ-42A. Could we potentially be looking at another new drone that has not been photographed before? Perhaps one in an earlier prototype phase? It could be another member of the Gambit series, of which there are quite a few models, though all we have to go on for those is renderings, so it's hard to say if it's an exact match. I think it's a pretty interesting find though. The YFQ is slowly rolled into the hangar to be stored for the night. A few moments later, the large doors begin to slide shut, and the mysterious objects inside disappear from the prying eyes of my camera lens. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that dive into the Gray Butte facility. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell if you want to keep up as we explore all manner of clandestine facilities. One announcement that I have is that this week on Thursday, the 15th, I have a live stream with Jorg Arnu of Dreamland Resort. I'm going to be up in Rachel doing a live stream in person with him. So it should be super fun. Make sure you tune into his channel, Dreamland Resort, to check that out. As always, guys, I appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one. Uncanny Expeditions, signing off.